Well, everyone, this is it. This is the final recording session of the LP. I've taken a shower, I have eaten a sandwich, I have the controller in my hands with fresh batteries. Hopefully they will work properly. But I am ashamed to say that there are a couple of things that I want to do before we enter the final area. First of all, there's this bottle that I somehow neglected. I just didn't think to buy this bottle. Whenever he says, buy a bottle of oil, I figured that meant put some oil in your bottle, like one of the empty ones that you already have, but no, he means an actual bottle. So now we have 4 bottles. I could have probably used one of those in, probably could have used one of those in the Cave of Ordeals, so I could find out if you can get more than one bottle full of fairies' tears. But I didn't, so maybe another day. Someday, Carl. Someday. So, let's see. The other thing I wanted to do was... It turns out I only have 5 of the hidden skills. I really thought that I had 6, but I missed one of the Howling Stones, and it's a Howling Stone that I've passed by at least twice, so I don't know why I missed this one. I guess I just never heard the howling in the distance. Maybe I was talking, or maybe I just became a centipede and didn't think about anything because I was a centipede. But yeah, I'm thinking that once I'm done getting to this Howling Stone and I howl with it and everyone howls with laughter from my ineptitude, I'll just cut out the trip to the actual Golden Wolf because it's a little bit of a long one. But here we go. Yeah, even now it's a little bit hard to hear. Okay. I think I already know how this one works. Evidently I don't. Okay. No. Fine, I will listen. You know, that's the message of all of Studio Laika's films, is make sure that you listen. That's the... Is that enough? Apparently that was enough. Okay, good. Yeah, I'm trying to think which movies. Paranorman is has a lot to do with listening, especially adults not listening to children. And then... What's the other one? What's the other one? What's the other one? What is it called? Box Trolls. Box Trolls is the other one where the adults don't listen to the children, but the children are right. So maybe Studio Laika is trying to tell us something. So this is the last wolf song that we get to hear, and it's a bit of an anticlimactic one, because just listen to how this one ends. It doesn't even have a final note. I think it's great. I'd never noticed it until this playthrough. But yeah, it just has these notes that feel like they're leading into a final note, and then it just cuts off. Okay, well, there it is, there's the wolf. I'm gonna have to travel across the desert for it, so I'll see you then. Well, that was boring, but thankfully, ironically, this boar made it much less of a bore than it would have been otherwise. The wolf should be right up here. Yep, I see you over there. Hello, Ocarina of Time Link, who probably does not have a last name. Link Sanchez. Clearly that is his name. So, the 6th of the 7 hidden skills. The last one is not very hidden because it's just going to be right outside the Hyrule Castle. Oakley dokley, neighbor. I don't L-target, mortal draw, but you're already kind of past the mortal phase of your existence, so I guess that doesn't really do much to you. And the jump strike. The jump strike is just a jump attack, but you charge beforehand. Simple enough, but also kind of cool. We cross our blades. Our blades that sparkle. And... nope, that is not the right button. That is the right button. The way his clones disappear there is so goofy looking. It's like they squash into the ground and then they sort of bounce out of existence. It happens so quickly that you might not notice it, but... you know, feel free to rewind the video and watch that again. You know, as much as I miss the days of flash animations and how interactive everything was, outside of just navigating the video, I will say that's one plus that YouTube videos has, is that you can just rewind back to where you just were. Okay, now I can just go straight to Hyrule Castle. Yeah, with that, we have done, I believe, everything in the game except for collect all the Poe Souls and give them to Giovanni, which the only real reward for that, aside from getting the endless supply of rupees, or not endless supply, but endless refills of rupees, is you get to see Giovanni really depressed over how his girlfriend left him in the time while he was made of gold. You know, that's nice and satisfying karma for you there, but whatever, I don't think it's worth showing. I don't think playing through every stage of roll goal is worth showing. And then the Hylian Loach, I think, is worth doing, but it's really more of a one-time experience, I think. Why did I pick that? Hawkeye is what I want. Yeah, I just wanted to show off, if anyone shows up that has a Malomart bag, that would be great. There you go, there's a Malomart bag. So many people in town walk around with Malomart bags, it's excellent. Yeah, I recommend doing the Hylian Loach thing yourself, catching it by looking up how to do it online, or... yeah, because I don't know how you would figure it out yourself, but it's a cool adventure. And you get a cool little prize for it, I guess. Maybe this isn't necessary, but I'm gonna go ahead and head to Malomart, because who wouldn't want to go to Malomart? Just gonna do this really fast because I need some arrows. I would go to Malomart in real life. I would be totally unashamed. I certainly wouldn't want this job, though. This is... yeah. Okay, wait, that was how many rupees, or how many... that was 10 arrows? Come on. I could use more than that. I have plenty of money. By doing my chores of cutting the grass. Ho ho! Yeah, I like how you pretty much just mow the glass, yes. Mow down that glass with a machine gun. And that's how you earn money in this game. And that's, I guess, sort of how money works in Animal Crossing too. Not quite the same way, but sort of. The shadow under this area looks more purple than any other shadow in the game. It's a little bit weird. I don't know why that is. Not that it's important, just something to point out. People say that this game is the darkest Zelda, which I can see in some ways. It does have that weird cutscene with Link's eyes being missing and all that, and has stuff like this, where Midna gets flung against the walls, and it's probably really painful as she transforms. Yeah, I mean, there's some darkness to that, but I think Majora's Mask still takes the cake for being, like, literally about the end of existence. Or maybe not existence as a whole, but at least the end of whatever world that you're in. And there's all this doom and gloom, and there's so much deeper under the surface. Whereas this game, I think, is more clear-cut. What you see is what you get. There's a little bit more to it than that, but... also, this cutscene has always confused me a little bit. I get that Midna's using the power of her ancestors, who were very, 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 very strong, and that's how Zant popped like a balloon in a matter of seconds from the power of this fused shadow nightmare fuel, but she is so small compared to the humongous barrier around the castle. How does she break it? Like, it's one thing to maybe make a dent in it or crack a small hole through the glass or something, if it's glass even. But it's like the whole thing fades in an explosion. I don't know if you can fade from an explosion, but something like that. I don't know. Now there's no more music. There's just us and the wolf. Us and old Link. Hi, man. We haven't seen each other in a while. Ah, yes. Good old times getting bit in the face. Nice to meet you, One-Eyed Bart. I'm here to stop you, One-Eyed Bart. Oh! How'd you know it was me? Apparently a lot of work was put in... have I mentioned this before? I feel like a lot of things in this playthrough I've mentioned it more than once. Wait. This is what I was trying to do. No! I'm sorry! I'm sorry I failed you, Master. I forgot my training. But now I remember. Thank you for putting it back into my skull, Mr. Skull. Now we get to the Great Spin. But yeah, whether I've mentioned it or not, I'm gonna say anyways that apparently it took Pixar, the Pixar team, a very long time to decide on the first lines for Woody to say. Because, you know, being the first feature-length 3D CG animation, or just CG animation, it was very important for the first point in the movie that really utilizes it to its full potential, showing something that would be so totally impossible with almost any other medium. That being Woody waking up as this plastic toy. Like, it was important to have that moment leave a good impression. Okay, go and do not falter, my child. Thanks, Dad. But, yeah. If you don't remember Woody's first line... Oh man, I can't even use my sword here. That's unusual. Woody's first line in that movie is something like, "Pull my string, the party's today?" So, with that little moment, you kind of get a feel for the whole character of the movie, and of Woody specifically. Hyrule Castle. I think I said earlier in this playthrough that the Temple of Time might have been my favorite dungeon in the game. I'm not sure if I said that or not. I might have just said it was one of my favorites, but if I said it was my favorite, I take that back right now, because even though this is a very simple dungeon in terms of its design, and it's not really that fancy with its puzzles or anything, just look at this. Just let all of this sink in. There's not even any music. It's just the sound of falling rain. There's mist blowing by everywhere. It's so serene. Everything is so light. It's just... Heck, there's not even music whenever the enemies are nearby. It's so good. Because so many other Zelda games, you know, you have A Link to the Past, or Ocarina of Time, or Wind Waker, where the final area is just Ganon's place, and has all this dark stuff in it. It's all evil. Sometimes it just has elements of past dungeons, like, hey, this is... We're gonna nail in this whole idea that this is the climax, the culmination of all of your skills are necessary to beat the area, and whatever, and it's all dark and it's all gloomy, but then also in Skyward Sword there's not really a dark dungeon per se, but it does have this sort of intensity to it. There's this constant music from the past dungeons. But then this, you come along with this, and it's so subdued. It's just... I really like it. I really like it a lot. It's like the perfect way to send off this game, with a dungeon that's not quite like any other in its presentation. So I very deeply admire this dungeon. people say Zelda is formulaic, and to an extent it is, but I think that a lot of them still have a lot to offer in terms of surprises. And I guess people would argue that Breath of the Wild has a lot in terms of surprises, but I don't find it really as surprising. Except in ways that are just sort of weird or disappointing, maybe. But this is me still going off of, like, what I've heard and what I've played up from about 2 hours, so maybe I shouldn't say that much. I just know that if I have an opinion on something, I should be able to say what my opinion is without feeling like I have to justify every aspect of it and also feel like everyone... Like, I shouldn't feel like my opinion is worth less if anyone happens to be offended by it. Which I should hope that I'm doing it in an inoffensive way. Whatever. Just... yeah. I would say that, in a lot of ways, the Zelda series is formulaic, and perhaps more so now than it ever was. Or at least more so before Breath of the Wild, or even in Breath of the Wild, I think it's very formulaic, but... you know, you have its moments. Like this. This guy just appears again. Hello, Ozobe. You have come to play. All of a sudden he's speaking.